I'm just going to say this. If you buy that game, you know what you're getting into. Hi everyone, this is actually recording this time, Matt. Welcome to the Real Gamerscore podcast. This week I'm joined by the lost audio of Tarragon.
Hi!
And Cameron.
Hi.
Here at Real Gamerscore, we like to discuss all things Xbox achievements and cheating our way to Mars. This week we talk about how to make an Xbox human centipede, losing our optics, and how much Alex loves the Graw game. But first, here's the song of the week. That'll do. Sweet. Done. Breaking my pad, trying to beat this game. 17 tries and I wound up just the same. Breaking my pad, trying to beat this game. But achievements ain't close in a game like this. Everyone knows you don't play games like this. 'Cause achievements ain't close in a game like this. I said achievements ain't close in a game like this. Play 'em back and pat, bringing down the backlog tonight. Never thought I'd let a game ruin my whole tag. Well, somebody told me you had a walkthrough to finish this damn game that I started in UHH of last year. I'm unsuccessful. It's just too stressful. Ranting and raving around. And if you don't get it from that, I can't help you. All right, so as
it's My Way by Frank Sinatra, right?
That's oh god, yeah. I mean, look.
Sorry, did I ruin it?
We're not meant to guess the song.
Look, this is just like when I did Nat King Cole the other week and no one got it. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, I mean, to be fair, my rendition probably wasn't the best. Anyway, as you've definitely heard of the intro, which we always record before the song, it's a 3-man show today. I've got me, Tarragon's here.
Hello.
And also got Cameron.
Hello.
How you guys doing? Yeah, okay, yep. That sounds about right. Yep, you know what? Perfect. I think we don't even need to elaborate there from that. We can probably move straight on.
Yeah.
So if you know the name of that song, name and the artist, make sure you send your answer to Real Gamerscore on True Achievements. That's Real Gamerscore with a 5 instead of the S. And then, and you go into draw to win the prize. We will, I think... We drawing the prize? We'll draw the prize next week for last month's. We'll I'm sure Chin will do some fun editing. Oh, and yes, of course. Just going to address why we didn't have a show last week. My audio crashed on us before our break, so we lost all of my hot takes on the coronavirus and all the great news. So we're doing a bit of a redo, but obviously it's been a week, so we're going to have some new stuff to talk about. Speaking of talking about things. If you want to get in touch with us, you can join us on the Discord, discord.io/realgamerscore. So if you don't know what Discord is, it's basically a big chat room, like the old ICQ and AIM days, I suppose. What other weird stuff was around?
Bulletin boards.
Bulletin boards, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Where
show my age.
Everything's just ASL and... but yeah, you can come join us in there. We talk about video games. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Talk about the podcast. We've got a Patreon chat in there for those who have been helping us subscribing to our service and helping us pay the bills and keep the lights on. Speaking of which, if you are interested in throwing a little bit of cash our way, you can join us on patreon.com/realgamerscore, where essentially the main thing is the outtakes that Chin, when he finally gets around to cutting them up and putting them out, he does at the end of each month, each and every single month.
Every month without fail.
Exactly. There wasn't a big 6-month chunk missing in the middle or anything. But yeah, so what Chin does is once he edits the podcast, he keeps all of our outtakes in, all the swearing and bits and pieces that we definitely have to cut out. Oh man, it was a joke from last week that I really wish we could have kept in. Oh. But yeah, so if you want to chuck us a couple of bucks, we really appreciate it. It helps pay for prizes, but also for the hosting and that sort of stuff. And little bits and pieces, because we do this out of the kindness of our own hearts, and we really enjoy doing the show, but we also need to eat. Also, we also have the random to-do list giveaway. So now that March is over, you've missed out your chance for entering, or well, you've missed out your chance for finishing an achievement on your list.
Hang on, what's the random to-do list?
So the random to-do list... Actually, Tarragon, why don't you tell us what the random to-do list are? Because we're quite lucky to have the expert on.
Well, the random to-do list basically goes through and picks 25 random achievements from the various games in your collection. You have to then unlock them as many as you can in a month, and that's pretty much the crux of it. Mostly for fun. There is a bit of competitiveness, but yeah, it's a good way to kind of pick up games on your list that you haven't played for a while, or you feel like playing, and so forth. That's what I've been using it for lately.
Yeah, it sounds oddly similar to another competition that I was involved in just recently, actually.
Yes, it's some obscure site, True Achievement or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it on my Facebook feed, so I thought I'd just sign up.
Yeah.
But yes, so with that, to encourage people to play, and because we always want to get some good competition going, is get people through their backlogs. We've also got the random to-do list contest. So all you need to do is unlock one achievement in the random to-do list on your list, and answer last month's trivia question was your favorite Microsoft Studios title. So if you did unlock something on your list last month, you still have a little bit of time to get your entries in, get your question in, but you won't be able to. Obviously, this month we'll have a totally different question, and we'll draw the winner for that next week once the doctor is back in. All right, well, steaming through, let's get straight into news. So, first thing I've noticed, and this is hot off the presses, are you guys aware of this surviving Mars stuff that's going on?
Only in the abstract. I haven't actually attempted it or done anything with it, but apparently there was some user-created modification released, which basically unlocks all of the achievements in it. It's not a cheat thing. It's actually user-created content, which is totally legal within the game. But yeah, a lot of people are not terribly happy about this, particularly people in a certain competition that's been long running for the last, most of a year. As far as I know, that mod's now been removed, but it's going to be back at some point.
Yes.
I don't know if you have more details, but that's about all I've got about it.
Yes, there's been some controversy around it, but yeah, so basically, like Tarragon said, basically what's happened is a user has created a mod within the game itself, which the game has mod generation tools that allows you to unlock all the achievements in the space of 15 minutes or so. However, so basically that essentially takes the completion down from 150 to 200 hour completion to about 15 minutes, which has gotten some people a little riled up. We've had a lot of people finish the game recently, and that also includes the DLC as long as you own it. More on that in sales. But the controversy is that it's also just been taken down just today, and there's the mod owner has come out and basically said that they had been working on the mod for quite a while, and it had been essentially leaked without them publicizing it. So leaked, not publicized. I mean, they put it up, but they hadn't said anything about it. Bills from Achievement Land noticed it pretty much immediately, jumped on it, created a guide. People have been using it. So, I mean, it's a little bit sour grapes, but the guys basically said, oh, well, I'm going to take all the mods down until you take your video down, because essentially they want to be able to make it their own guide. Which, I mean, hey, it's they created it. It's their idea. I mean, there's something there, I guess, maybe around saying, hey, we want to be the ones publicizing this because we put all the work into it. But on the other hand, I mean, it's a guide for a game. I mean, just because Bills has a guide doesn't mean you can't make your own guide. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I guess if he didn't want it to be used publicly, then he shouldn't have published it yet. He's obviously able to use it and work on it without publishing it, I would think. I could be wrong there. Maybe he has to publish it before it can actually be run or used. But, yeah, I don't know. And, I mean, there's nothing stopping him when he publishes it and publishes his own guide, somebody else doing a guide which is better, unquote. He might make a crap guide, and somebody else might go along and make a much, much better and smoother one.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fact that he made it public, and not public, but he made it available in the first place is probably on him, really.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at I'm just reading Bill's response here. He just says, to be fair, I had no clue who made it. Others in the community were completing it and told me about it. So I just wanted to get the word out to the others. I credited the creators. I was a little late because things were hectic. Also, a video guide is helpful and many prefer seeing how it was done. I'm not sure why you're being like this, and I don't know what you have to gain from it. The goal here is to try and support and help each other. So he's being a little bit antagonistic, but I kind of see his point. I mean, obviously, it's not super great that he wasn't crediting the people immediately as soon as he made the video.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, but I think he does raise a good point that it is like it is a guide, and he wasn't the first. He was just the one that made the guide for it. What do you think, Cameron?
Same thoughts. Exact same thoughts.
Are you guys going to pick this up? Are you going to pick up the game? I mean, it's on Game Pass, so I mean, you can probably just go through and do it as long as you don't care about DLC.
We'll wait till... I haven't had a look what the sale is this week, but we'll wait till sales, and then... I mean, just depends on the price.
And also, it's got a Win 10 stack, so you can double dip it.
Yeah, I don't play games like that anymore. I've sort of only recently gotten back into kind of achievements in any kind of sense, and that was just basically throwing my hat in the RTDL and to using that as a guide to what to play. But basically, I'm just playing games that I want to play, and that feels like booting up Surviving Mars just to put a mod in to unlock all the achievements. That's not really playing the game, or just not really having fun in the game. So yeah, it's just not what I do anymore.
No, fair enough.
Fine for anyone else who's doing it, but I just don't play games just to tick up Gamerscore anymore. That's just me.
I'm sure that's a much healthier way of going through life, I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I took a year off achievements basically, so because I was getting unhealthily connected to them. So I had to kind of refocus and focus on what gaming was about.
Yeah,
but that's another story.
Next news story. So, Activision bans 50,000 cheaters on COD Warzone. Is this one? You got that one?
Wait, you're just saying you got banned on Warzone, or...?
No. I know nothing about this story. I was just going, bye, cheaters. Bye.
Yeah, I mean...
I
suppose it's not surprising, right, considering it's a free-to-play game that's very low barrier to entry. You're going to find all kinds of cheaters.
Saying that, though, like, the fact that this has only been out for a few weeks and they're, like... I feel like they're cracking down from day one. It sets a great precedent.
I think that from the Battle Royale field or sphere or whatever you want to call it, cheating has been a huge problem that's really brought down things like King of the Kill and especially PUBG. PUBG has been absolutely rotten with cheaters. I think Fortnite's done a relatively good job, but I think that's been one of the key things that they've noticed is that on top of supporting the game with content and events and things like that, you also need to be policing it. And I think Activision have taken a pretty tough stance on it.
I mean,
how long's Warzone been out?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
So, and that's 50,000 people banned already. That how many people are actually playing the game? That's kind of interesting. It would be interesting just to know what percentage of people, like what percentage 50k is of the total population of people, because that seems like a lot for 3 weeks. But I guess it is a big title. So,
yeah, I mean we don't have numbers for TAs yet because there's no achievements. But I would be curious. Cameron, you want to do a quick Google foo? And
I was going to say, I'm just having a look at the moment to see. I mean, would it still be on the gameplay charts?
Quite possibly, yeah. Because it is, would still be in there. Because I know game preview stuff shows up in there as well.
Trying to see if Warzone appears anywhere.
I'm wondering how
many... Warfare does, on top of the ladder, but I don't know if they class it in the same thing still.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because technically it's a separate launcher. But I wonder how many of these cheaters are like across what consoles they'd be playing on. I mean, I imagine most of them will be PC, right? Although, I mean, COD has traditionally been more of a console game as such. I mean, it was years ago. I'm not super up to it because I haven't been playing for a while, but...
I've had a bunch of people at work actually talking about playing COD, and that's on PC, so it seems like it's becoming more of a PC thing, at least in my small amount of experience.
I've just having a look at some of the comments on this article. Just some interesting thoughts about cheaters.
Yes, people have a lot of thoughts about cheaters lately.
Yeah, lots of opinions. But yeah, no, it's good to see that Activision's taking a firm stance for this stuff.
So 30 million In 10 days?
30 million.
So, do you want to take a guess? I guess one in how many that is?
My mental math's not that good, but it's like what, like point one?
Like one in 600.
Okay, so yeah, nothing basically. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, very very small minority, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a comparison to that. So.
I mean, look, I'm more worried about the cheaters who don't get caught. But I mean, yeah, with 30 million people playing a video game,
which is an astonishing amount.
Yeah,
I guess that's also, hey, we've got this strange disease thing that's rampant and causing people to stay at home. So, hey, they look for something free to play.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's had a contributing factor to its success. But yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Oh yeah, I mean, it's the best time to release a game. That's for sure, and especially one for no money.
Kind of disappointed that this still doesn't. Like, I was hoping that they would add achievements in, but.
We'll see. I wouldn't surprise me if they do at some stage, because they know it gets people invested.
Yeah. They're saying that 30 million, so...
Yeah, I mean, then again, I guess they probably don't need them.
Yeah.
It's a free-to-play. The achievements would be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. They would be monetized to all hell, and, yeah.
720 no-scope, player across map.
Kill 27 billion people, you know.
That's actually what the hackers are doing, is they're trying to rack up as many kills as possible for the inevitable achievement update.
Yeah.
Getting that preload.
Exactly. Ready for next year's G task. So we had some details come out about the Xbox Series X, which is such a mouthful. They really should have come up with a better name. But I said that when the Xbox One came out as well, or the Xbox One X.
Just call it the SXX.
SSX Tricky? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I love that game. Just the snowboarding console. Yeah, so apparently they've dropped the optical audio port, which, I mean, means next to nothing for me because I'm a heathen and I just listen in stereo. But, I mean, you've got that. Like, they've definitely changed. So I was talking about how the HDMI in, so they've taken that out, the Connect port, which is no surprise, IR blaster on the front, and all these sort of things, and the audio stuff.
We can't use that Connect.
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, no!
Well, doesn't it use a USB adapter anyway these days?
These days, yeah, you just use the same.
You can still
it's all right, you can still use your Connect. It's okay.
I've got one.
I know it's a highly sought after feature.
I've got a Connect sitting in a bag over here because when I traded in everything to get my One X, I had the Connect in there, and they literally would not take it off my hands. They were like, no, absolutely not. Nope. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's not worth anything. I'm like, yeah, so are half these games. Like, you're giving me $1. Give me $1 and you can have it. They're like, nah, mate, nah. I was like, I'll almost pay you to take this off my hands. Like, I just don't want it in my house. But no, so now I have it sitting there, and it's one day, Monday, maybe I'll have to, during this great apocalypse, I'll scavenge it for parts or something and make like a laser gun to fend off the zombie hordes or something.
Use it as a security camera.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think mine's sitting in a box in the garage, and it will probably stay there until the end of times, along with my Wii and my Connect for the 360 and my 7 360 consoles, and anyway, all the other crap that I've got in there.
It sounds like you probably build a Series X on your own out the back there.
Yes,
just throw it all together.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what they said the Wii was, right? It was just 2 GameCubes taped together. That's essentially what a new Xbox is. It's just 7 Xbox Ones all just linked together from HDMI in to HDMI out. You just run them all in a sequence.
Yeah, so if it's 7 Xbox Ones, then you get 7 360s as one Xbox One. So how many Xbox 360s would be a Series X? 49?
Yeah, I'll see something like that. Yes.
You're 1/7 of the way there.
I would say, okay, perfect. So that's basically, I mean, so what you need to do is you need to find someone who's trying to run through GRAW and get those leaderboard achievements, and then just raid their server farm of Xboxes that they have. I was having this conversation today, actually, about someone. I was like, how many Xboxes would I need at this point to try and make that a legit thing? And someone said you'd need, essentially, I think the last count was you needed 16 Xboxes running all with gold accounts for about 3 months. The power bill alone would not be worth it, let alone the time.
Jeez.
But that 0-point achievement,
Yeah, exactly.
so worth it.
Oh god.
Like I've stated in the past, 0 G achievements do not count.
Yeah. Well, Graw is worse because they actually do count for something, but they're like 12 points. Like they're not even like. No. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a rant about the second game that I played that ruined my tag forever. But so the main reason apparently they're removing all this stuff is surprise, cost. So we've speculated in the past about how much these consoles are going to cost, and we're thinking what $599 is probably the highest it could possibly be, right?
Well,
US?
Talking US.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually an article I read just recently about Phil Spencer talking specifically about price and saying that, and going back to the Xbox One like initial release versus the PlayStation 4, and just how price is actually probably the biggest decider of where and who will win, or at least start the generation off, which is interesting because he didn't really talk about the missteps that Xbox certainly made with the Kinect and with a lot of their sort of DRM kind of FUD.
But
he talked price, and there was $100 difference between the two at the time at launch. So really, they can't afford to do that. It'll be interesting to see who actually blinks first with Microsoft versus Sony as to which one releases their price first and then responds, because you would expect that both of them would want to wait as long as possible and then adjust their price accordingly. But yeah, but $599 US, that's what I mean in Australian dollars with the current exchange rate.
At
that's
the moment,
$800.
Yeah, at least.
Probably closer to 900. And same here in New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand are almost on parity at this point.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know, that $800 for a console feels
so US
much.
dollar is trading to $1 US $1.62 Australian.
Cool.
So $600. I put $5.99 would be $970.57.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
This starting to sound like PlayStation 2 territory when it came out.
I can't even remember what the Xbox One X cost when it first came out.
It was. So that came out at $499,
Right.
and then the PlayStation came out at $399.
So I mean, the Series X, the Xbox, the Scorpio. What did that come out at?
I want to say 650 here.
Yeah, so it was that sounds about right. 650 Australian.
At least that
So
would have been EV.
jumping from 650 Australian to 900. That's a huge jump, even there. So I think that would be, particularly right now, if they were going to release it in the next 3 months or 6 months, that would be basically it wouldn't sell.
It's pretty tough.
And that's because a lot of people are struggling for money and for work at the moment, and that's just the reality of what we're in at the moment. And yeah, so I don't think it could possibly release at that price point, at least in Australia, and it'd be a big ask in the US as well, I would assume. So
Yeah, and that's kind of was going to be my next point too, is that like depending on how this price goes, and obviously they're trying to cut this stuff out to save as much as they can, which makes sense. And I'm sure PlayStation's doing the same, although I saw some interesting stuff about overheating about PlayStation 5, although unconfirmed.
Yeah.
It will be really, because obviously there's talk about whether there's going to be delays to the release, and whether there's going to be a delay to the release worldwide, or if it's going to be just localized delay. So, it comes out in the US and some parts of Europe, but doesn't get all the way to Asia, for example, or to Australia or New Zealand, who knows, due to the COVID situation with the factories being shut down or having limited availability. And then, the price being that the economy is absolutely in the toilet at the moment for most people. So, trying to justify the spend for a new console. I mean, even if it comes out at $800 Australian or New Zealand, that's going to be still pretty high. But the thing is, I don't see, unless, the only way they could really do it is making a loss on the console, which is what they used to do.
Yeah, and I think they sort of do anyway. I mean, there's the interesting thing about loss leading is that no matter what price you put on the console from the beginning, it's loss leading because you have to pay for all of that R&D.
Yeah, true.
It's and it takes several years before you even come close to being profitable. So the loss leading is really on the actual hardware costs, the cost to manufacture the hardware and put it all together and then ship it somewhere. That's your baseline cost. Then anything on top of that is what you try and put against your R&D for the last 5 years or whatever. So I guess loss leading like that is really about selling games and the money you make off the selling of the games, which again goes back to you. That stuff is what covers your R&D costs, and so the console itself, making money on the console, or even just breaking even on the console, is probably all they want to do, and maybe they will have to do kind of a loss lead at the moment just because of the current climate.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I believe that I think the 360 and the PlayStation 3 were sold at a loss, but the PS4 and the Xbox One, in terms of manufacturing and shipping, were sold at a slight profit. Obviously, you're talking about, of course, R&D, which is huge for those, obviously, with as the way technology increases. So I'll be interested to say. I know that they'll definitely be reluctant to go from a non-loss leading model to a definitely loss leading model, but they might just not have a choice.
Yeah, otherwise they're just not going to sell, and if they don't sell, then what's the point?
Exactly. All right, and so our last story here, we have ID at Xbox announces some new YouTube series to highlight upcoming indie games.
Actually, just going back on that, we didn't really cover whether or not removing the optical port was a problem.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, I guess that's
we
true,
kind of got sidetracked. Personally, I think it's probably about time. Optical's actually... SPDIF, which is the format, is kind of an interesting thing. It's been around for ages, but it's not really a proper standard. And so it's just kind of been this de facto standard, and it's been kind of wedged and had 5.1 and whatever else added to it. But it's actually not like great when it gets right down to it. And HDMI audio is superior to it and much more ubiquitous now. So it doesn't surprise me that it's gone. It's going to piss off a bunch of people just because they've got headphones, for example, that only take optical port like output. And I guess the side of that is HDMI has a essentially not encryption, but it has authentication on it, which can block certain audio. Optical does not, and that's why a lot of the headphones like that have an optical input, but not HDMI, because there's a lot more involved in actually decoding the audio signal. But it doesn't surprise me it's going away. It's it's been around for 30 years plus now as a tech, and it's old, and Anyway, that's my opinion.
and like the HDMI in, I think the number of users who are actually getting proper use out of that stuff is so minimal that like even moving across, like if that's going to be the one thing that stops you from getting a Series X,
then the Series X is not really for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Are you getting it for games, or are you getting it as a media center? And there are far cheaper media centers out there than a Series X. It's just
But I'm
silly.
getting it to put my 360 in. So, I mean, as long as they're making every single Xbox 360 game backwards compatible, it's fine.
Every single one, right?
Every single one.
What, your TV doesn't have 2 HDMI ports?
No, that requires me like getting up and pressing a button to swap it from HDMI 1 to HDMI 2.
Well, I mean,
me as the consumer,
I know there's this new technology out there. It's called wireless remotes that let you change the source on things. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's a brand new tech. It's only been around for like the last 30 years.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you from my optical headphones.
I'm sorry. He has to tweak an aerial. We're losing signal. Going into a tunnel. Okay. So. And then stop. Yep. And this ID at Xbox announces a new YouTube series to highlight upcoming indie games. So this seems to have come out a bit of a necessity due to some cancellations of events where you'd normally be highlighting things like, especially the ID at Xbox games, and things like GDC and potentially E3 and some PAXs and Comic Cons and all that sort of stuff. So they've launched a new channel called ID at Xbox Spotlight. So giving some I guess, well, Spotlight makes sense. Yeah, I work in marketing. So looking at new indie titles coming to the platform. So they've got 6 videos on there at the moment, apparently. I'm just having a look at what they've got on there at the moment.
So each video covers about like six different games.
6 games, 6 videos. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So it looks like this is going to be the theme going forward. And basically, all of these games I've never heard of, which means it's definitely doing its job.
Oh, you haven't had it moving out?
No, I have not.
Oh boy, have I got something to show you?
Yeah, I mean, hey,
does it have user mods, and can I get the achievements easily?
I mean, can I get the achievements easily? It's just where you can stop that sentence, really.
That's exactly.
That's the main thing.
I want maximum ease.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be Ratalaika, but, interesting. There's a couple of Wales Interactive games in there, Blowfish Studios, who we spoke to at PAX. So, no, it's okay. This looks like there's a couple of things in there. It'd be quite interesting. Onto the end of the people who the other week talked about the sort of how the deal with Game Pass works and how they get paid and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to see how. So I might check these videos out actually and see if there's anything new coming up. I mean, I'm not buying any games this year, as we all know, but good. So far, I have not purchased a single game. My New Year's resolution is last April.
Sorry, you're going to change that sentence. You have not spent your own money.
I have not spent any money on a video game this year. I may have spent.
There's a difference.
I may have spent some reward credit on a game that I'll talk about later.
Alright, cool. I was going to say a few of the ones. I was just going to briefly mention a few of the ones that we tried at PAX last year. Moving Out, which I'm surprised you don't remember. It's a cutesy little. Has an overcooked kind of art style to
yes,
it.
I remember. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play it, but yes, I saw you. Yeah,
very keen on that, and I believe I don't think I played you against it, but when we were talking to Blowfish Studios, trying out Kung Fu Kickball.
Yeah,
that was quite interesting as well.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if they continue this on, or if this is just how big of a thing is this going to be, and is this going to be. With E3 and stuff being cancelled, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more video content. I mean, I know from my perspective, from my workplace and a lot of other workplaces, we've had to pivot to digital very, very quickly because suddenly we need to come up with content for social media and things to talk about and that sort of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how long this lasts and how big a deal they make out of it.
Yeah, I kind of wonder with, say, the E3 conference and your E3 big showcase stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Sony and Microsoft for that. I mean, Nintendo have kind of already been doing their own thing in that space, but certainly Sony... I mean, Sony have had their own kind of conference on the side anyway a bit after that.
Yeah, kind of. Last year, because they stopped going to E3 2 years ago, I think it was, so they kind of did their own thing last year in particular, which I think was pre-recorded, if I remember correctly.
I don't think it was that impressive, if I recall correctly.
Not really, but, I mean... At the end of the day,
pretty much every single Sony presentation for the last decade.
Yeah, that one where they showed 4 games was pretty rough.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see the Microsoft one because they've really thrown at all the stops at E3. Yeah. So that's a big hit for them not being able to have their E3 presentation. So. Hopefully they'll have something just as good in digital space, but I guess we wait and see.
I mean, just as long as they get Keanu, just digitally, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yep, Keanu and a very fast car. That's all I need.
Exactly. Another Forza car drops down onto the stage. It's a digital stage in a digital car. Actually, you know what? They basically just have to make the entire press conference, but they'll just render it all in the new Forza game to show how great it looks. And you won't even notice until Phil Spencer does a backflip or something, or he dabs or whatever it is you do in the Forza Horizon games when you win a race. I would pay money to see that.
Just buy a Series X.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I guess. Yes. All right. Anything more you guys want to add on that? Any other games on there you think are interesting or anything like
that? Given I haven't looked at it, I have no comment.
Cool. I was going to say, I see that Wales Interactive has a Made of Scare one, which I want to check out.
Yeah,
I know nothing about it.
No, I mean, I love everything Wales Interactive does. So.
Same.
All right. Now, normally we'd go into the G-Test roundup, but as Chin says every week, he stopped caring about it about 10 weeks ago.
Was that around about the time he got knocked out?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Just about.
Just checking if there's some kind of correlation.
Look, he at least was putting up the pretense that he was going through and checking what the bonus is and seeing where the cutoffs are and saying who's in, who's out. But the last couple of weeks, he's just been saying, "Oh, I don't know, someone's out. I didn't really check it." So in true Chin fashion, we're just going to move swiftly on.
Okay.
And
I think some things happened. There was some controversy. Some people got knocked out. Some people got through. Some bonuses were used. These are actually the last bonus. It's probably, I don't know if it's a fairly well known fact, but I do a lot of the scanning for the bonuses in GTASC. So the bonus that just went was the alphabets on the solo side. Everybody had to unlock an achievement starting with all the letters like X. Which is a fun one. That's just happened. This week is the final bonus at all for this season. And it's the team bonus. I'm not sure what it is, but I just know it's the very last one before you kind of get into the end of the contest in the next 7 or 8 weeks.
Man, that contest goes on forever. All the time I'm like, wow, this is it. We're getting towards the end. Nope. No, we absolutely are not.
It's not a sprint. It's not a sprint.
It is the longest marathon of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like week 40 of 48 or something at the moment.
Man. And as I always say, the knives are out. So it's people are going to get cut. All right, now we'll get into what we've been playing. Cameron, you're first up. What do you got, mate?
All right, cool. So mostly this week, I've just been going through my crab list. You know, gotta get the good old crabs.
Cultivating your crabs. It's fine. Look. It's not nothing to be embarrassed about. Everyone's got it at this point. Right. It's fine.
Cool. So basically, over the weekend, I got 10 games or 10 pops out of the way. Started off in the Adventure Pals. Got 100 kills just jumping on enemy heads. Quite easy to do. Next up, I went into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I had to kill a merchant in the arena for Bloodsport achievement. Knocked another one out at the same time. I love Odyssey. It's so beautiful and I need to go back to it. But traveling just takes forever. Like, just at the start. I'm just wanting just to get straight into the action. Not just travel to see. But that's my only gripe with Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah,
it's a big, beautiful world.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, for some reason, just didn't grab me. Like, I really loved Origins, but I think Origins I just completed and did everything with Origins, and then Odyssey came out, and I was just a bit, burnt out, I think, on it, and I just haven't ever got back into it.
It's so weird, because, I hate the traveling, and that just feels like it just takes forever. But then, I love Greek mythology. I used to want to be an archaeologist growing up. That was my dream career. And then I realized that getting into that field was just damn near impossible. But, I love the mythology and all that of this game. It's just the travel just lets it down.
It does. Is it similar with other Assassin's Creeds where you find towers and you can just fast travel between them? Is that the same kind of thing?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same principle. It just feels dragged on to me. Okay. But saying that, I wasn't a fan of Origins either. So
you see, I was a huge fan of Origins. I'm with Tarragon actually. Tarragon, did you do everything for Origins? Did you completely rinse it?
Got the whole full completion.
Oh man, that going through and doing every single location. After that, I was like, I need a break from Assassin's Creed. I just can't.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit like that.
Great game, though. What else you got there, mate?
Moving along, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, just killing 75 enemies with a rifle. Basically just checkpoint abused. Just to quickly smash through it. Worms Battleground, 500 damage in a turn. Another quick one, took me about 2 minutes to knock out. Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Hardest one on my list, 6.83 ratio. Break 500 objects.
Okay,
so
just hit things.
Basically just whatever the wizard character is, spawned into the pub, basically just destroyed everything in sight, loaded into a match, quit out of the match, destroyed everything in sight. Did it for 5 minutes, 6.83 ratio achievement.
Oh boy.
I got lucky with that.
You got really lucky because that could have been a much, much harder achievement. Because Vermintide is no joke.
Yeah, it's definitely not no joke, but to get that one out of everything, just amazing. Wheel Spin Frenzy. Just this is probably the most grindiest achievement that I've had to do. I think I spent 2 hours just destroying the same 5 barriers over and over, and then reloading, and then doing the same thing, and then reloading.
We do this for fun, right?
Oh, look! It was like I call it finger exercise. Wait, do I? That doesn't sound right.
No, I was going to say
there are much more pleasurable ways to do finger exercise. Let's put it that way.
But basically, just set myself an autopilot. Just listen to a podcast, and knocked it out. But there's not a lot to do with that game. Very, very arcadey, very basic. Disney Infinity, Marvel Superheroes Edition 2. Purchased 50 objects in interior decorator. Another one of my higher tier list, I think, in my hardest 5. Another 5 minutes. Back to the Future, Talk to Young Doc, easiest one on my list. Probably took me about an hour. And
so
I remember
was the easiest one, and it took the longest. Man,
it took the longest. Everything else in this list,
true TA fashion.
But saying that though, I remember when Back to the Future, the Xbox One copy was Games of Gold. I downloaded it, started playing it, and I'm just like, I really can't get into this.
That's a point and click, and it was like an early Telltale, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
very early Telltale.
Yeah,
I think it was around their sort of Jurassic Park era.
Yeah,
sort
pre Walking Dead and all that. But I didn't mind it actually. Like actually forcing myself to sit down and get to that point in the story. I did quite a bit of episode 1. The only problem I had with it was it's very finicky when you're trying to walk
exactly
behind.
the word I was thinking of. Finicky. There's some of the stuff in there that you got to do, and it's just like if you miss it, start the game again.
You're done.
And it's
like trying to walk behind a young Doc and actually get that voice recording to take back to the older version that's locked away. It just wouldn't work. Took me about 15 tries to actually get it, and then it was like, all right, cool, I can actually finally move on. But so was life. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, Treasure Hunt. Treasure Hunt absolutely easy, but the one pain in the ass with this game is just the fact that you have to finish the chapter that you're on before you can go to another chapter. So I basically had to play through, I think, 40 minutes of... I think the end of chapter 6 is where you fight the Leviathan? Something like that.
I think chapter 6 is the one.
Yeah.
We're pretty close.
Just to get achievement that would have taken me 5 minutes in chapter 8. It's just great. And then my 10th game, which is I've been hooked on for probably the last 2-3 days, which I was surprised about. Ninjin Clash of the Carrots, defeating the World 3 boss. It's a hard one. I'm pretty sure it has a high TA ratio. I'm just trying to think what it is from my head. But so far, it's not that bad. It's just very grindy getting all the weapons. Yeah, 4,600 for 1K Gamerscore. So
pretty high ratio, yeah.
Pretty high ratio. Saying that, I feel like it's just one of those games, like I've said in the past, that if you continuously just go and reattempt it, it's other than like 1 or 2 achievements that are luck based, everything else is pretty easy. I want to say the S rank stuff is pretty forgiving, seeing that I've got through most of the game. Probably half my levels were S rank halfway through, and then going through cleanup last night, I've got about 3/4 done now. So yeah, but that's 10 of my achievements for crabs done. The other stuff I've played this week is Dead Island. I don't think I really need to mention much. We throw gas tanks at each other. We
finished the story.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The quote-unquote story.
Yeah. We find orange weapons when nobody else is online. Of course, everybody finds the 5th one when Cameron has to go into work because he's store flooded.
Did you finally get that achievement?
Yeah, I got it. I managed to get it pretty easy after, but it was just like, really? Just timing. Me and Matt did a little bit of boosting for Resident Evil 5 just to help him knock out the what game mode?
Slayer. I
Slayer,
think.
yeah. So we knocked out Slayer, 15 wins, and getting a 20-hit combo. Matt got it first try. I kept on getting to 18 because I'm a noob.
I mean, you had 15 tries and you got it within the 15 tries. So
Yeah, I got to like 7, and then every one after that was like 30. Just like, why didn't this happen sooner? Overwatch. One of the guys on AH101 put out a message just asking for a 12th person for a session. I knocked out some quick, easy achievements in it, just boosting, but then I got called to work. So I've got about like 15 achievements to go now, and I should be up to date with Overwatch until they add their next 2 in for Echo. But I don't know how far that off is. I imagine it would be pretty soon. Started Star Wars Fallen Order.
great game.
Great game. I want, like, this is probably going to be something that I dive heavily into on the weekend after I finish the rest of my crab list. So far, just... I don't want to say anything without giving spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
But
we can do a spoiler chat about it later once you're further into it. But I do want to get your opinion.
All I want to say is, to me so far, it definitely feels like a Respawn game. And when I say Respawn game, I say so many positives about the movement in the game. Everything just feels fluent, and nothing's jarring. Nothing's jarring that it takes you out of the experience. I'm not a Star Wars fan. It's not that I don't care for it, but I'm not particularly just interested in the universe. But to me, this is actually drawing me in quite a bit. And then my last thing for the week is my typical racing maniac mind going back to Forza Horizon 4. I smashed out the title updates for the Upgrade Heroes DLC. Not DLC, but the Upgrade Heroes title update, which is just taking pre-existing cars and putting an interesting twist on them. And there was another one that was really short and sweet, but I can't recall it now what it was. But I knocked that out while intoxicated on Friday night.
Can't have been that difficult.
But no, Forza's second nature to me, but quite good. Saying that, I'm probably going to start attempting on Friday to get all the seasonal championship stuff done, which will take me for the next 4 weeks. But I needed to start summer and actually start at summer, and every single week I'm like, it's like autumn or it's winter, and it's just like, all right, well, cool, gotta wait for this achievement to cycle around again. But hopefully I can get the full completion back up to normal in a month. But that leaves me with 2,297 for the week.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Big T, what do you got, mate?
Oof. Well, it's funny signing up for the RTDL again, in that I've basically put a bunch of games into my list of like games that I think I want to play, and then finding out I really don't want to play them. But I guess I had to try them in order to work that out. So things like, if I go back far enough, games I didn't want to play, which I worked out, is like The Witness. It's probably a great game if you're really into those kind of puzzles, but I just couldn't really get into it. It's kind of like, I don't mind puzzle games if they're kind of attainable puzzles. The Witness is very difficult in some parts, and it's just like, I don't want to think that much. You know what I mean? I like a bit of challenge, but not that much.
It's a little bit abstract in a way that kind of hurts your brain a bit.
Yeah, and it's more just sitting down to play it for a long period of time. You just work, you get tired, and that's just not what I want to do all the time. So I played it, I got my achievement in that, but I've sort of dropped it again and put it off my list. Dead Rising 4 is another one of those. Actually, Dead Rising 2, I picked that up again. I've completed that twice now. So this was like the remaster on Xbox One, and I just started playing it, and I thought, I don't want to do this again.
Fair point.
Like, I think I got I got my 400k, maybe my 500k Gamerscore by getting the 100,000 zombie kills in that game. Like I've done 3 of my milestones using that particular achievement. So that was all I'd done in Dead Rising 2 off the record for Xbox One, was just get that achievement. Just grinding through getting the 100,000 kills. Yeah, so I picked it up and sort of played through it a bit, and it's just like, nah, I can't be bothered. So that one's there. Watch Dogs 2 is probably another one. It's like, I really should like this game. I just don't.
I gotta say with Watch Dogs 2, for whatever reason, I love the first one, but the second one just did not pull me in. I don't know why. And the first one doesn't have a good story or anything, but
yeah, I'm not sure what it is, and I don't know if it's just I've kind of not so much moved on, but just my like of that style of game isn't there at the moment. The very sort of open world sandboxy kind of screw with things style, and I've sort of had that with like Grand Theft Auto has got similarities in that. I could never get into that. It's one of the highest rated games and biggest selling games of this generation, and I just I got like through the first 2 missions and went, yeah. And Red Dead Redemption, I should love that. Red Dead Redemption 2, more to the point. I played Red Dead Redemption to death. I got everything in that game. Red Dead Redemption 2 should be more of the same, but no. And it's just my interest in the style of game, I think, has just changed, and so yeah, it's not hooking me.
I wonder, is that to do with potentially your taste changing, or do you think that might just be oversaturation? Because I mean, Ubisoft has been accused of recreating the same game every year 5 times, basically.
It could be that. Oddly enough, let's do a comparison here. Another game that I did play a hell of a lot of was Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Now, you could argue it's a very similar style. It's open world. You can run around, do whatever you want, screw around with things. The difference there is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is much more Batman-esque style combat. Watch Dogs 2 is very much shooty kind of combat. And, you'd probably argue the same with Red Dead Redemption. That's very much you've got a gun, you shoot things, whereas Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is very much in-your-face combat, which I've always enjoyed that style of combat more, and I think that's why I stuck with it. Because I guess the gameplay loop with Watch Dogs 2, for example, there's kind of the interesting stuff going around and finding things, and then you have, like, all of these games have a kind of a combat loop and then an exploratory loop, right? Watch Dogs 2, the exploratory loop was not quite compelling enough for me to continue with, and the combat loop I just didn't really get into at all, and I think that's what has kind of screwed it. Whereas Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, I really like the lore, so the exploratory side of it is a lot of fun, just finding out and unwrapping more of the story, and the combat loop I really like. So I guess similar kind of games, but they've just got differences in the subtleties, I guess, and that's why I ended up playing a lot more of Shadow of Mordor, and probably the same with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is another game I went back to. I'd actually bought the Definitive Edition, but never got around to playing the DLC. So an achievement popped up in my random to-do list. I ended up going back to it and was like, oh yeah, cool. I went and got that achievement and thought, I haven't played the DLC, and I went and played through all the DLC, and that was fun. But yeah, it's just different styles of games, I guess, and Watch Dogs 2 just didn't grab me. So I've probably had that problem with most Ubisoft games more recently, yeah. And certainly Rockstar games. I haven't really gotten into any Rockstar games since Red Dead Redemption. Anyway, moving on. Bioshock Infinite. It's another game that popped up. Game I'd been meaning to play for a very long time. I'd only dived it years ago. So I'd heard really good things about it, and particularly about the DLC, and I've heard people raving about the DLC and how it changes everything and it's mind-blowing and blah, blah, blah. So I went and played through the whole thing, including the DLC. Yeah, my mind wasn't really blown, I'm not going to say. But yeah, no, it was a good game. I didn't mind it. Story got a bit weird at the end, but I think that's Bioshock, really, when it gets right down to it. But a lot of people didn't like the ending, I've gathered, after the fact, but I didn't actually mind it. Yeah, that was a good game. Celeste. Celeste was one of those games I really would want to play, but then I realised I'm just not skilled enough to play it. Luckily, there's an assist mode, which I don't really regret using. I sort of got to a point where I was just getting too frustrated. So I think with the assist mode, it'll allow me to, A, marvel at the amazing level design and just how good people are to get past that stuff, and 2, actually see the story. And the story is really nice. It's actually a really good kind of story, mostly about sort of mental health and sort of dealing with your dark side and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have ever been able to see that if I didn't have assist mode. And that's, as much as it is against kind of the gameplay of the game, the fact that I can see the story and really appreciate that, I think is a plus for assist mode there. So, yeah. Another game, Binaries. That's kind of it's a puzzler sort of puzzle platformer kind of thing. So not so much physics based, but just more sort of timing based, I guess. You have two balls that you control independently, and they need to not fall into spikes or not get shot at and things like that. Yeah, that was another one of those. Yeah, sounds good in theory, but I just don't like it. So I got my achievement in that, and then I've parked it back into not for contests. Similar with Castles, which is another sort of puzzly kind of match 3 kind of puzzle game. Yeah, so I played it a bit and thought, no, not for me. Kona, on the other hand, Kona is essentially a third-person point-and-clicky kind of game. It's essentially a murder mystery. You're running through the Canadian countryside in the snow, trying to work out who's been murdered and why. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. I actually just played it without a guide. Went straight through, pretty much got all of the documents just naturally through natural play and just exploring. And then did a bit of cleanup afterward, and did a second playthrough to get the. There's a couple of achievements that rely on you not smoking and not drinking and all this other stuff. So I went through that. The second run through was actually pretty quick once you knew what you were doing. But yeah, no, I quite enjoyed that actually. The controls were a little bit clunky. It's obviously come from PC, and the hitboxes for items in particular is not great. So you're moving around, it's really fiddly to kind of get into the right spot and actually interact with things that you're supposed to be able to interact with. But besides that, the story I thought was good, and yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It'd be a quick one if you just want it for achievements. You'd get through it pretty quick. But yeah, I just played it for the fun. Who does that? And the latest ones I'm playing is Metrico or Metrico Plus, which is again a kind of puzzle platformer. Really kind of interesting aesthetic. It's basically all silhouette, so side-scrolling silhouette kind of based, and yeah, it's a bit hard to describe, but it's quite good, and I'm continuing to play it because it's basically just a really great. It's not too difficult either, but it's definitely challenging enough to keep me interested. So yeah, I'd check it out if you're into that sort of game. And just because I really needed something to switch my brain off on, the Lego movie, the Lego movie video game, the game. Yes, I've just been playing through that just for the lols. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
I mean, that's all you've been doing.
Just a couple of things, yeah. Most of that's basically around RTDL or Crab, and that's basically just been deciding what I've been playing. So, yeah.
And so that puts you at 2,185 this week.
This week? Wow.
This week, yeah.
Okay,
it's impressive.
And I'm not really trying. I've been actually surprised how quickly my Gamerscore's been ticking up lately, when I just haven't really been paying attention to it or specifically going for it. So.
Oh, no, that sounds great, and a lot of really good and interesting titles in there. Kona, especially, I was a big fan of. It's on Game Pass as well, so definitely worth a look if you have the time. All right, what was I doing? Let's have a look. Sims 4. So speaking of easy games, so played through some Sims 4. Alison has been playing it for fun, and I was like, actually, you know what? I might just piggyback on that, and then just follow the Bill's achievement guide and get everything done in 2 hours. Ratio is still 3.0 though, so that'll come down pretty quickly, I'm sure. But get onto it.
How'd your plant go?
Plant worked fine. It took a little bit longer than the guide said it would, but once I waited for a bit longer, then it was fine.
Okay.
Because I was a bit worried about it because I know you mentioned it that there was some problems.
Yeah.
But all turned out okay. Also played through some Resident Evil 5. I figured, well, I was getting towards the end, and I wanted I needed to do one of the achievements, the one that we did with Cameron, for a contest that I'm doing. And I figured, well, while I'm here, I might as well just play some more of it. So I went through and S-ranked everything, did pretty much all the single-player content, got all the weapons, upgraded everything, all that sort of stuff. It's like one little achievement I need to do about punching something 3 times. And then the rest of it is the DLC achievements that they just added to the main list for the Xbox One. So I did the first DLC, did my first run through on amateur, still need to go through on veteran and then professional, but it's only like 45 minutes to an hour, so it's not too bad. And then I got to do the other DLC, which is the much the Desperate Escape one that has the finish it on professional difficulty, which is the one achievement I'm missing on the 360 version. So we'll see if that repeats. I have the feeling it might do. But still, like it is definitely a bit clunky. Like I know, Cameron, you said that when you got back into it, like it was a bit weird to go back to that kind of game because you can tell that games have definitely progressed since they came out in terms of like third-person controls and maneuverability.
Yeah.
Like it does, because obviously you can't move and shoot in that game. And so, like, when you essentially become a turret anytime you hold down the trigger.
It's just me. I'm just a running gunner, and you're taking that away from me.
Well, it's like if you go to Resident Evil 6, for example, you're like flipping all over the place and like doing like dives and like doing like shooting behind your back and like it's like John Wicking the whole thing.
That's more my style.
It's like it goes way too much in the other direction in a way that's almost hilarious. But yeah, you know, it's a fine enough game. It was fun to go back to, and I'll probably put some more time into it. We need to get some more people together for the 4-player boosting stuff. Might try and double box it a little bit if I can. Also, did some Battlefield 3 boosting. Did some ribbons. Friend of mine rented a server, so a friend of the show, Valak, was involved, and a few other people. So we all went on there and tried to organize it. It was absolute chaos. There are still people playing that game. I can't believe it. Like, people still enjoy Battlefield 3 after all these years. So, yes, so we had to try and get a private server, and then you can't do ribbons on a private server, so we had to make a private server, get all of us in there to max out the player limit, and then change it to ranked so no one else could jump in. But make sure that no one dropped out, and we were all connected all over the place. People were dropping out, and Xbox Live is having issues, and it was an absolute nightmare. But it was also one of the most hilarious things in the entire world. There was just this perfect moment where we finally got a tank there where we had to get 4 tank kills. It finally gets around to my turn. I jump in the tank. I don't remember the controls, and I hit the shoot button, and I accidentally hit the smoke button. And like, it was the perfect comic timing because they're all lined up waiting for me because we're trying to corral people to stand in a bunch so we can shoot them. And we're finally get it lined up, and like, okay, cool, go. And then just this perfect beat of me hitting completely the wrong button, and just a. And then everyone just dies laughing. And I'm just like, oh god, it was so embarrassing.
Why are there 6 pedals when there are only 4 directions?
That's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said. Yeah. So yeah, absolute nightmare. But it was hilarious fun, and we'll probably do some more of that maybe next week. Did I definitive, as Cameron mentioned. So we finished up the story. Been doing some of the arena stuff. Trying to get us all leveled up to level 50 so we can actually give the 30 waves a good shot, because I know that it starts off pretty simple. The first half of it's pretty easy, but it ramps up really quickly. And they don't give you a lot in terms of health kits and stuff, so if you die, you're pretty much out.
Quite literally, when we were doing it last week, really broke my back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you literally died, yeah. And then one of my crab achievements was in Party Hard, which is a game that I started ages ago, back in like 2017, and I'd never got around to finishing it. Like I dived like the first couple of achievements because I needed it for UHH, and I was just like wasn't interested. It didn't seem all that interesting, and I couldn't really get how it worked. But one of them was for killing 75 people with a horse, so I figured, well, time to get back on it, I suppose. And it's actually, I actually got through all of it this week, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Kind of. It's an interesting game because essentially everything's like there's set levels, but everything's randomly generated. But it's like Hitman picture playing through Hitman, but like the complete opposite of Silent Assassin. So you're like the worst assassin of all time. Like there's bodies everywhere. Like people are running and screaming, calling the cops, and you're like, okay. I was like, well, I've just killed someone. I need to quickly move away from the area so when the cops come, they don't think it was me, even though I'm the guy with the chainsaw and the Leatherface mask.
If I recall, that the kind of conceit in that game is that your neighbours are throwing a party and you're really sick of this, so you invade the party to go and kill everybody or scare them off.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Just go and murder everyone. It turns into this weird murder spree. With the final level being set in an after-hours subway tunnel station with a bunch of people who are dressed up just like you, massive, like, called Party Harders, and so you essentially just go into a big group of your fan base and just absolutely brutally murdering them. It's like in story wise, it's got this weird through story that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But
a game with a story that doesn't make sense? That never happens.
Right? I know. They obviously spent a lot of time on it. I mean, apparently it came out of a game jam. So apparently they used to make like games for kids and stuff. And so out of this game jam thing, they were like, hey, let's do something ridiculous. And apparently it's like one of their most successful games. So yeah, like it frustrated me a lot because there's a lot of randomness to it, because essentially people wander around and there's always a point where you've killed a bunch of guys and there's 5 guys left and they all wander and they're all standing around each other and you're like, okay, I need to kill all of them quite quickly, because if one of them calls the cops, there's basically no way for me to escape, because you walk really slowly, and every time you use like a get out, like an escape route, if you use it too many times, a weird Mario plumber comes out of a sewer and just boards it up so you can't use it again. Like, the game's got a real sense of humor about it. But yeah, so I went back and finished that. The last achievement for it, though, was absolutely ridiculous. It's for playing the game 100 times. Which is like, what? So all you have to do is, you start the game up, you go into a level, load a level in, and then dashboard, exit the game, and just load it up again, and just do that 100 times. It's not like play 100 levels or kill 1,000 people, which you get pretty quickly. But it's like, play 100. So you just have to like force quit the game and restart it every single time. So I just sat there for like an hour just doing that at the end of it. But not a bad game.
Sounds like a really, really good use of your time.
Yeah.
Party hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, exactly. Stuck inside, partying hard. It's great. My neighbors hate me. And then, and then the last thing I've been playing through is I decided that I finally need to bite the bullet and finish up Ori in the Blind Forest. So I have my last 3 achievements for doing the speed run.
That game broke me.
Yeah, I love that game, but man, I'm so bad at it. And I was like, I went back to it because I stopped. I played it in like 2016 or whenever. I think it came out 2015. And I went through, and the only achievements I was missing were the speed run, the no deaths, and the no abilities run. And I was like, whew, I can't do this right now. I need to take a break, because this game was quite challenging for me for the most part. Like, I just don't have quite the coordination to do it. Like, I got through it and I got everything, but it definitely took me longer. And, I know if Chin was on, he'd be rolling his eyes and calling me an absolute wuss. But I was like, I need to just go away from this for a bit. And now it's been long enough that I was like, I saw it there. It's got a pretty decent TA, and I was like, I need to finish it up, especially for this competition that I'm doing. So I was like, well, whatever, I'll do it. And I jumped back into it, and I was like, was I as bad as I remember? And then I'm trying to do the speed run. I was absolutely as bad as I remember. Like 100%. Like the no death playthrough, like you can cheese it by essentially creating a copy every time you save, and then if you die, you just delete your original and just copy it back from your last save point. Man, I've done that like 50 times already, and I'm only halfway through my speed run. Like, I'll definitely get the speed run done under 3 hours. Like, I'm at like maybe 50 minutes or so. The speed run, I think the speed run video I'm following is like at 45 minutes or something, and I'm at like 55, so I'm like 10 minutes behind. But 3 hours will be plenty of time. But it's just the no deaths. It's just been such a pain. I'm going to do the abilities one separately, just so I don't just completely rip my hair out. Because I mean, if I can run the game in like 2 hours, then I can just do it again. But
you'll definitely have the speed run down after you've done it the first time. Absolutely,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah, so exactly. So I'll just do it again, and I'll do it. I'll give myself slightly more leeway. But man, I'm really bad at this game, and I'll be really interested to see how I go with Will of the Wisps when I get around to that. I've been hearing that it's had some achievement issues, so I've been holding off on it. But it does look really good though. So I might wait for a patch to come out. I mean, that's in Game Pass, so technically I'm not paying any money for it, so I'm okay paying it. So it's skirting around my rule a little bit. But yeah, so that's a fair amount, and then obviously a few bits and pieces in Crab and a few achievements here and there for spelling out things and stuff like that for this competition that I'm doing, but nothing too exciting. But that puts me at 3,192 points, because Dead Island Definitive Edition never wants my Gamerscore to go back to be divisible by 5 ever again. Yeah. All right. So let's get into what's on sale this week. So I've split this out basically into the regular sale, the weekly sale, and also we've just had the Easter sale come out, which has had a huge amount of stuff, but most of it we've seen before. But there have been some good deals, so we'll highlight some of those. Cameron, do you want to go through this week's sales?
Yeah, cool. So Eri is 30% off for $4.89. Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders, 70% off for $5.99. Drunk Fu Wasted Masters, 50% off for $4.99. Is it Aaliyah? Aaliyah? Not 100% sure on that. 90%.
Yeah, Aaliyah. Yeah, I've
Aaliyah?
played that one. Yep.
90% off for $1.29. Pick up or leave behind?
I would
for
say
that
pick up.
for that price, yeah, definitely. Easy
up.
enough. Follow.
It's a little bit
I would say definitely
finicky.
follow a guide. I
Yep.
think there are spoiler-free guides for it if you want the story. But yeah, follow a guide because there are some easy missables.
Cool.
Not too bad otherwise. It does kind of leave the story. Unfortunately, I think finishes on this bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm pretty sure there will never be a second.
Yeah, because it was episode 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Moving along, Fearful Symmetry and the Cursed Prince, 90% off for 49 cents. Pick this up. This was a great puzzle game in itself, and I think 1 to 2 hour completion with a guide, maybe less.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe roughly about that. You could probably get 2 to 3 hours or so. I mean, it's pretty quick.
All right, cool. Galazzo. Yeah. However you want to pronounce it, 35% off for $9.74. Hero Express, 70% off for $1.49. Jumanji, the video game, 25% off for $29.99.
Still a little pricey, but
I mean, yeah. Are you going to pick it up?
am I? Yes, no, definitely. this is going to be the one game that I couldn't stop myself from picking up. Is Jumanji? Yes.
This is the licensed off the remake, yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
cool. Noir Chronicles: City of Crime, 50% off for $7.49. Redeemer Enhanced Edition, 60% off for $11.99. The King's Bird, 75% off for $4.99. And yet another Zombie Defense HD, 50% off for $2.49.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
yeah. I still need to get through and play that.
Yeah, I got that one too on my tag.
Yet another game in the backlog.
Right.
And we've also got the big Easter sale that just came out. So we've got A Way Out, 75% off, $7.49. Highly recommended, but you need to have a co-op partner.
speaking of which, anybody want to be my co-op partner? I've had that game for ages. Never got around to playing it.
I'm thinking about getting it at that price.
You should do, actually. I would say, you two should definitely play it because it is great fun. Just make sure you do that banjo and the piano achievement. That was the annoying one.
Okay.
You got to be. It's basically Guitar Hero.
Oh dear.
I have a bot for that.
I was going to say, yeah.
I was going to say one perfect person to do it with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He'll have it down. Abzu, 50% off, $9.99. Avicii, I don't know how you pronounce that. Is it just
Avicii.
Avicii? Avicii Invector,
It's-
25% off.
Isn't that the music one?
I have no idea.
Based off of
And off drops.
Avicii. The
I know
music?
the musician, yeah. I don't, yeah. Someone suggested that for Song of the Week, and I was
That's
like,
huge.
yeah, no, I'm good. I don't have quite that vocal range. Battleship, 60% off, $5.99. Black the Fall, 75% off, $4.49. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, 80% off, $3.99. Pick that game up. It is great. Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, 50% off, $9.99. It's, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em ups. You just play through all of them really easy. Cars 3, Driven to Win, 75% off, $9.99. Conan Exile, 60% off, $19.99. That's another console command game that you can get through, similar to Ark. Pretty easy. You do need a co-op partner for it, though. Doodle God Crime City, 65% off, $5.24. And Doodle God Evolution, 40% off, $8.99. If you play Doodle God, you know what you're getting into. Fair Effect Sedna, 85% off, $2.99. I've recommended this one before. Relatively easy tactical shooter, like isometric, with a couple of little puzzle things in there. The puzzles are probably the hardest bit, the little mini games, but once you get those, you'll be fine. Forgotten Anne, 60% off, $7.99. Do we? Oh, no, pause. 60% off. Oh, sorry, lost my place. Forgotten Anne, 60% off, $7.99. Gang Beasts, 30%, $13.99. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, 50% off, $14.99. Monopoly Plus, 70% off, $7.49. Murdered Soul Suspects, 85% off, $2.99. Oh My Godheads, 80% off, $2.99. Restless Hero, 50% off, $4.99. Sea of Solitude, 50% off, $9.99. Seasons After Fall, 75% off, $2.49. Gardens Between, 50% off, $9.99. Although I would say just play it on Game Pass. Transference, 75% off, $7.49. Easy game. I think I did that for like one of my 1.1 million or something. Really simple, interesting walking simulator. Uno 50% off $4.99. Make sure you have your vision cam turned off.
Who's to say? Going back to the last week's episode where we definitely the lost episode where we talked about Xbox Mag shutting down. I think one of the first articles I ever read in one of those magazines was about people using the vision cam for lewd experiences.
Oh god. I'm just going to say this. If you buy that game, you know what you're getting into.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving swiftly on. Hang on.
Strip 4. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to get into it. All right, we'll cut this bit.
It's gold.
I completely got thrown off there. Valiant Hearts, The Great War, 75% off, $4.49. Varange, 50% off, $4.99. And Virginia, 80% off, $1.99. So some great deals in there, some really easy games. That's like looking at that's 50,000 there easy. Come on.
That's yeah. I mean, if you bought everything on that list, you would have a very easy 20 to 30k.
Yeah, easy.
Barely any time put in.
And then for host recommendations, I would recommend Mark of the Ninja Remastered, 50% off, $9.99. And I would also recommend Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, 55% off, $17.99. Neither of them are particularly short games. They definitely have some challenge to them, but I think just in terms of quality, like they're kind of almost the perfect mix of achievement difficulty to gameplay being good to actually enjoyability and length. So it's kind of the perfect storm for video games. I think those two are. What about you, Cameron?
I've got to do main Kirby justice because he's not here this week. Kingdom Hearts went on sale probably a month after its release on the Xbox Store, and I'm really gutted right now, but don't let my disgust be your misfortune. You should be picking these two titles up. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 60% off for $28, and Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue 67% off for $28. So down from 70 and I believe 85 respectively. It's
a good deal. It's a really good deal.
4K for the first one, 2K for the second. Great games as well.
It's tempting, although I'm almost certain they'll come to Game Pass at some stage. So
true, but like that's.
But if you want to play them now, you got to play them now.
I was going to say, just thinking about you trying to get through them in Game Pass.
Yeah, actually, that's a very, very good point. Yeah, because they are quite challenging.
I was going to say they're quite challenging, and it's not going to be one of those quick, easy completions. Definitely not.
All right, and that takes us out of our game sales. A lot of stuff on sale. Definitely recommend picking all of it up. Just make it rain with all the achievements. Now let's get into some community questions that we've had. So these were asked of last week and this week. So we've got quite a bit to go in. Yep. So our good friend Trimmy, Shadow's brother. I'm pretty sure he's Shadow's brother.
No, there's no relation. No relation whatsoever.
I mean, he trims hedges. You are a hedge. I mean, look, I'm not going to get into it.
Don't just make some sexual innuendo about me without my consent.
In your endo. Okay.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. Our good friend Trimmy writes in, Shadow's buddy, can you explain why you're my favorite host? Yeah. But no, seriously, he wants to know who our favorite Patreon is. That's a good question. Who's on our Patreon list?
I think Kirby's got the list.
But if I look in our
I thought
Discord
that was asking
chat,
like Patreons that I support. Who's my favorite? I couldn't really tell. Oh, okay, it's
favorite.
Oh yeah,
let's spin the question. Yeah, that's fine.
Patreons that I support. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, because I don't want to get into a flame war in the RGS Champs chat.
No, the obvious question there is all of them. They're all lovely people.
They're all
they're all awesome.
All the ones paying at the top tier are my favorites.
We love all of you equally, especially you, the listener. You know who you are.
But it's definitely not Trimmy. It's definitely not Trimmy. It's not Trimmy.
There's just some hit list now, and he's just been moved up one rank.
Well, you mean like in Billy Madison with the with Steve Buscemi with the lipstick and the yeah, okay. It's a
I
dated
don't know
reference.
what you're talking about, and I'm not sure I want to know.
It's a very interesting movie. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it.
Okay.
Okay, so do you guys support anyone else on Patreon? Do you guys do any Patreon stuff or involved with any other communities?
I do, but I can't name them off the top of my head. Let me load up my Patreon page and find out.
I'm just going to go quickly. I think the only people I support is us, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean,
don't think I support anybody else.
I don't anymore. I have had a couple of podcasts that I used to support and that sort of stuff here and there.
Oh, G-rated, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, no, they definitely all had the explicit tag on them, but they're usually for funny reasons rather than.
Okay.
But my Kickstarter is a whole different thing. But yeah, so it's all my money goes into this show these days.
Yeah, for me, well, yeah, I'm also a subscriber of Real Gamerscore for some reason. But
for some reason,
yeah. But I support Rebecca Watson, who does a bunch of basically skeptical science related videos, which I find pretty interesting. And recently, I've added Navy Nexus, who's a redstone specialist for Minecraft. I tend to play a lot of Minecraft just for funsies, and he does a lot of pretty interesting sort of stuff just on the technicalities of how redstone works or doesn't work, depending on what version you're playing. So, yeah, that's all I'm doing at the moment. I did have a few more, but I've kind of cut them down just for money reasons. But, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't grow on trees, unfortunately. Or if it does, no one's told me about it. And then we also had a question for Alex that we'll save for the next time he's on.
I was just gonna.
Are you just gonna put it out there? Okay, let's go with it. Okay, yeah. Sure. Go. What's the question there, Shadow?
So, if we had access to Professor Pluto's Xbox account,
what is the worst thing we could do with it?
What's the worst thing that we could do with Alex's gamer tag? Oh boy.
So, before we go on, he's given us a few suggestions. Yeah, we could get it banned. We could start certain games with nubs that he would never have any chance of getting them.
Well, or we could just start... by definition, nobody could get anyway. But
what's a difficult game for him?
Well, obviously, Graw. It'd be the game
Graw.
to put on.
I was going to say Rocket League because apparently he's not that great at that. I'm going to hear about that. Oh man, I mean, getting him banned is too easy. I would.
That's almost less painful because you'd start over and you'd have 100% again, and it'd be fine.
Exactly.
But you put something like Graw on there, and that'd really grind his gears, I'm sure.
Quake 4,
yeah.
Kane and Lynch, probably Homefront. I'm just listing all the games that are on my tag that I hate, so he can share in my pain. Forza 2, Army of 2, the 40th Day.
Wait, Forza? Which Forza? Motorsport?
Yeah, Forza Motorsport 2.
You sure you don't want to chuck Horizon on as well?
Horizon.
I forget what games he doesn't really like. Like, what are games he actually hates, like really hates to play? Because
does he like racing? He doesn't like racing, does he?
I mean, not if it doesn't have a giant football in it. I don't think.
True.
Is that really racing though?
I mean, it's soccer with cars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but the real answer and the obvious answer is that I would go in and change his gamer tag to Professor Pluto 1. Like that's the obvious one, right? Is that I would change it to Professor Pluto 1.
But that's just fixing his gamer tag to be the correct thing, though. That's like...
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would create another gamer tag as an alt for myself that's actually just Professor Pluto, so he can't change it back. At least not properly.
Yeah. Chuck some numbers on. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, change it correctly. But yeah, I mean, would be nice to Alex. I mean, because the other bit is that like he knows where we live and what we look like, and probably not the best. I mean, I'm sure if as long as we pass it off as some random hack that happens to be all of these games that we've just happened to talk about.
Yeah, I know. You put all the Guitar Hero games on, but the ones that have just got the new discontinued achievements as well.
You could just put all the Guitar Hero games on it just in general. Like most of those games are so ridiculously hard to finish that I'm sure he'd be thrilled.
He'll love it.
Both stacks of.
If only he had a friend with a bot.
I'll make sure I send him a Rock Band drum kit instead of a Guitar Hero one, so he can't ever actually finish the game.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just listing all the pains that I have with all these damn
And
games.
leave out the pedal.
Yeah, no pedal.
No pedal. Taking this seriously, though, like...
Wait, we weren't?
That's 100% serious, yeah.
If somebody had access to our account, what would we do? What's the worst that they could do with it?
Probably start every game in my collection.
Yeah, that's...
See, that wouldn't be a problem for me.
That'd be a problem with Matt.
Being a serial bean diver for a while, I just don't care. I think worse for me. Honestly, I don't care. I think even if my account got banned by somebody else, I'd be like, start again. I don't know. I'm just not that attached to it anymore. But I think that's just a sign of where I'm at with gaming and achievements in general.
Again, definitely probably the more healthy way to go about it, because I would be in absolute pieces.
Ask me a year and a half ago, I would have been, but now,
I mean, I think it would be like if they bean dive. So like sometimes in my worst moments, I'm just like, I'm going to install everything and bean dive everything just so I'm stuck with it and I have to do it. But it's like I can only, like, some people just want to watch the world burn, right? Like I can only imagine what they would do with my tag, because I've still got, like, looking at my Xbox library on the Xbox One, it shows you the number of how many games you have, even if you've hidden them all now with the new update. 915 games.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then that's so I would probably say at least 200 of those I still haven't played yet. So that would be pretty rough. And most of them I haven't played for a very good reason. Either I just like don't know what I own them because of games with gold, or I bought them but they have like DLC that's ridiculous, or I've just realized that I'm not skilled in it. Like I have things like Hollow Knight on there that I really want to play, but I'd be absolutely terrible at.
Just let it go.
I can't do it.
Just play it anyway.
I can't do it. I'm almost at I'm trying to get to that mythical.
Start a new tag just for playing those games.
That's probably what I should do. Yeah,
yep.
I'm trying to hit that mythical 95% completion, and it's
there's a very easy way to do that. It's called start a new tag called 100% completion, and just play one game.
Yep.
That's like a 5-minute 1K, 100% completion forever.
Done.
Yep.
Done. Yep. Rather like it to the death. But actually, that kind of leads nicely into our next question from Ghostly Shinobi. What's more important to you, completions, ratio, or Gamerscore? Or TA score, if you want to put that in there as well. Cameron, what do you think?
I honestly, with me, it's going to be fun. There's no point getting yourself burnt out on any particular...
Hey, yeah, I know.
I cannot believe I'm surrounded by people who are not obsessed with this every waking hour of every moment of every day. God, unbelievable.
It's almost like it sounds like you think we're on like a podcast about Gamerscore or something. Like, really?
I know, right? Yeah, really.
I mean, if I was to pick out a completions ratio or Gamerscore, to me, completions don't matter. I have bean dive, not really bean dive, but I've played so many games and that I've just left because I have other priorities like family or my relationship or work or whatever, just simply haven't gone back to. But to me, probably Gamerscore would probably be my biggest thing. I kind of get, not frustrated, I don't think that's the appropriate word, but sometimes like I'll just look at myself versus last week and I feel like, alright, if I haven't, I guess, made like a gaming achievement, not necessarily unlocked an achievement, but done something that I felt was worthwhile during the week, I kind of feel disappointed in myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
And that's purely going from more a sense of going back to this fun aspect. If I haven't taken the time myself to de-stress and, dedicate some time to that, it's just not healthy. Mm-hmm. And I purely look at it from that sense. So, cop-out answer, I know.
100%, but probably as I've been saying, probably the correct answer.
But not fast and completions. Saying that, look, I'll go for a higher difficulty game because this is Ruiner, for example, that I didn't really get a chance to talk about last week because it's it's explicit content now. Um, but Ruiner is such an amazing game, and to me, it just has this perception of being too difficult because it has a high TA score. But I really recommend if you can spend like 10 hours in that game, do it, because that just left me with that rewarding feeling you get from something's difficult, you overcome it, you're tempted a few times, just that success kind of story. Yeah. What about you?
I was definitely in that camp. And then as you've been talking about it, I've been more and more interested in checking it out. So, bringing us over to the dark side. Tarragon, what about you?
I would say none of them, just because I'm not a statistics person anymore. But if I were going to weight any of them more highly right now, it'd be completions, and that's just because I want to start a game and get the most out of it right now. But I don't think I'd really chase 100% if I thought it was going to be ridiculously hard. Like, I'm really not interested in going for multiplayer achievements. I'm not terribly interested in time trial stuff. So, like the Tomb Raider stuff, for example, there's a bunch of complete a tomb and get time trial bronze or whatever. I'm just not interested in doing that. But I'm kind of more just, if I like a game, I want to get as much out of it as I can. So yeah, completions is probably the thing I would lean towards out of those three. But again, at the moment, statistics are just not really what I'm following. It's more about fun.
I'd say that for myself, I'm Tarragon, and you and I have relatively similar gaming tastes in terms of what we like about games and that sort of stuff. And so I'd probably lean the same way as well. Completions has always been the thing for me. I get the dopamine hit for every time I tick something off the list, be that the achievements or the game itself. Delete it, hide it, done with it, never have to think about it ever again. Goes in my memory. Great. Which I know is not technically very healthy, but it's the way I play games. In terms of ratio, I always take an interest in ratio because I'm as I am a stats person, and I am very interested in how it's calculated and how what's causing ratios to change. Like, is it is the game difficult? Is there a noob filter somewhere through the game that's stopping people from continuing? Is it like a super hard difficulty? Is it like is it RNG? Is it like, I'm always interested to see why something has a much higher ratio than you would expect. And then in terms of Gamerscore, like I've got my 1.3 million. It doesn't really, like, after I hit 1 million, I stopped really caring all that much about the score itself. It's more just a way of just seeing where I'm at, and the number goes up, but I don't really look at it all that much. It is more about trying to get that completion percentage up, so I'm sitting at like 93.5%. And I'd like to hit 95, just so I feel like I am getting the most out of my games. And going back to games like Ori and stuff like that, where I'm like, you know what, like, I put time into this, it was a really good game, and it's been long enough that, like, I want to go back and actually have some more of that experience again and have a good reason to do it. So I try not to burn myself out too much, and that usually means, like, I don't enter competitions like GTASC or anything, or UHH too much, or if I do, I don't take them too seriously.
Yeah, GTASC is a very good way to burn yourself out very quickly, particularly in the later weeks. Exactly,
yeah. So I did my 10 weeks and then I was out. And like UHH, like, that's how I got introduced to the podcast, was I matched up with Kirby and he completely trounced me.
Doesn't sound like him.
No, it doesn't. He must have caught me on a bad week, or him on a good week. But like, that's so, like, I enjoy some of the competitive aspect of it, but like, it does get down to like why you do this, and you do have to remind yourself that it is for fun at the end of the day, and also that there's nothing wrong with like taking a step back and just saying, hey, like, I don't have to be playing and earning achievements all the time. Like, it's like there's no hurry, right? And I think that's also part of the reason why, like, I'm not buying games this year, is because I would just buy games to add them to my collection to put the score up to get my completions up. And I kind of realized that I'm, like, essentially just on an endless treadmill. And I thought, well, if I stop buying games, stop adding things to my collection, I'll feel better about finishing the things that I have, working through that. And, maybe next year I'll ease it up a bit. Maybe, like, every few games that I complete, maybe I buy one new one once it's on sale or something along those lines. But just so I get the most out of those games and I'm not just wasting my time and my money. Because, I mean, I've got enough games to finish for the next probably 2 or 3 years, easy.
Oh, yeah. If I went through my entire collection trying to complete everything, I would still be here in 5 years trying to complete everything, not adding anything new. For me, I mean, just going back to a kind of a personal note and why I stopped doing this in the first place, and it was basically mental health reasons. I my mental health wasn't very good, and I was finding that jumping on achievements and obsessing about them was basically my not so much a crutch, but it was a very unhealthy thing that I was doing, and I was only doing that because I wasn't coping with life. So yeah, I kind of had to stop in order to kind of step back and just get my head on straight, essentially, and get back to what makes me happy. And that really wasn't making me happy, but it was also the only thing I felt like I could do. it's kind of it's just sort of an obsessive kind of completion, kind of I need to be doing something.
Achieving, if you will.
Yeah, but it was kind of a false kind of sense of, like, it didn't really achieve anything. It's just on a treadmill getting those little bits of plink kind of dopamine hits, which, yeah, it's very short-lived and wasn't healthy for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at now with it. Not saying that people can't do this stuff and be healthy, like mentally healthy with this stuff. I'm sure. Well, I mean, I'm absolutely 100% sure that a lot of people do that. This is why it's not an obsession, but it's just something that people do as a hobby. That's fine. It wasn't a hobby for me anymore, and so I had to stop. But anyway, that's an aside.
I think that's a good message to put out there, because I do think that sometimes we do get a little. Well, I mean, I'm going to say a little bit too into it, but obviously, like, there are various levels of how people get into these competitions and earning achievements, and to let people know that, like, it is totally okay to step away for a bit and, like, take a break. Like nothing is forcing you to keep playing, and I think that's we just have to remind ourselves at the end of the day. I mean, like, it's not always as simple as that, but I think that's something that, like, and I have to remind myself about this, is that, like, you know, like, if I get to the end of a day and I'm, like, stuck on a game, not having a good time, bashing my head against it, and I'm just like, I feel bad about it. I'm just like, actually, like, I just, like, it's fine. Like, I don't have to get this done today. Like, I don't have to play this. I can play whatever I want, or nothing, or do something else. Like, I mean, you know, quarantine is making that slightly harder, considering barely able to leave the house for the last 2 weeks.
But the point is that we're doing this as for entertainment and for fun. If it starts to feel like a job. If it starts to feel like a job that you're not getting paid for, more to the point, then something's wrong. And yeah, it's I think just being mindful that being on a treadmill and grinding yourself down on this stuff is really not that healthy. Do it for fun. Do it because you enjoy doing it. Even if it's, even if you enjoy actually grinding through certain achievements. I mean, I'm sure Crandy, it's sort of, quote, enjoyed, unquote, getting the Grower achievement. It obviously must be very satisfying to have finally done it, even after all of that grinding. But as a general rule, that stuff is not going to be too healthy, and it's very easy to get kind of stuck in a loop with that sort of stuff. Just be mindful of that, I guess. It works for some people, but don't go overboard.
Yeah, and I would say definitely talk with the community. I think is also a big thing, is having a good community to talk to and to socialize with. And it takes some of the focus off playing games for just getting the stuff, as like reminding yourself that people play games for being part of and having conversations and hanging out and doing stuff. Like, I mean, games are an entertainment medium, but they're also a social medium as well. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, and we'll get into some people who got some real dopamine hits this month.
You want to do the first half, and I'll do the second?
Sounds good. All right, cool. So milestones. Mr. X Povos, Kronos himself, has reached a new milestone of 750 games played. Seamus McLimely has reached a new milestone of 300 completed games. Kush Moose has hit 15,000 achievements won. Whispering Ghost has reached a new milestone of 12,000 achievements won.
It's Whispering Clown, I think.
Oh, sorry. Whispering Ghost. sorry. I've been playing Ghost with Whispering Clown, so that's why I'm thinking of it. Enigma Gamer 77 is currently on a 2,500 achievement win streak. Whispering Clown has reached a new milestone of 300 completed games.
There we go.
Hawkeye Barry 20 has reached a new milestone of 250,000 Gamerscore. Woohoo! It's pretty good. ShadowlessEdge has reached a new milestone of 600,000 TA score. How did you do that, mate?
Who's that guy?
I played that one game that gave me all the TA called Ruiner.
Ruiner, okay, right.
I'm pretty sure Ruiner was my 600 TA.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mr. Praux.
Prolux,
yes. So Prue has reached 750,000 gamer score.
Which is awesome. Nice
That's
work.
fantastic.
Good job.
Yeah. Kronos has reached 700,000 TA score. Tatey is on a 1,250 day achievement win streak. Ben L72 has reached 600,000 TA score. Mucky Bihoy 89 has reached 11,000 achievements won. Daniel JJ14 has reached a new milestone of 650,000 gamer score.
It's not as good as Prolux, but it'll do.
No, but hey, it's pretty good. I've seen some of those games that Daniel's played. They're he's definitely earned that. Kronos has reached a new milestone of 400,000 gamer score. Woo! And ShadowlessEdge reached a new milestone of 350,000 gamer score, and I guess a 45% completion percentage, but that's absolute crap, so I'm not going to mention it.
Saying that I start everything in that, for me to actually get from 40 to 45%, it's good for me.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
If I got back to 30%, I think I'd be happy. If I cared about such things.
Look, take your victories where you can get them, mate.
That's exactly it.
I want to actually see if I want to try and get my completion percentage down into single digits. That might be my better
that
goal.
would be an achievement.
I'm the top 1%. Wait, wrong way.
It's like golf.
Oh, jeez. Nerf Bullet has reached a new milestone of 10,000 achievements won.
Nice.
Keith 271179 has reached a new milestone of 350,000 gamer score.
Do you reckon he was born in 1979?
I thought he was born in 1179, but
Wow, that'd make him pretty old.
yeah,
And only 350,000 gamer score.
Yeah, no, exactly right. But he's the 27th Keith to be born that year. So
yeah, exactly it.
Or
He had to
the
share that-
271,170.
potentially, he could have come off a production line. Who knows?
Wakapel has reached a new milestone of 1.4 million TA.
Whew.
Yeah, good job, man. Hazu? I'm sorry.
Hazel. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right? Cool.
Yeah.
Probably butchered it. I'm sorry. Apologise. No, I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Reached a new milestone of 1,250 games played. Good job. Craig killed ya, but what do I know? Reached a new milestone of 250,000 game score.
Nice, $250,000.
Buck Marley 155 has reached a new milestone of 26,000 achievements won. That's
A lot.
that's
getting up there,
that's
yeah.
an odd one there. Is that
26,000? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's
Kevy does this? This is
The
all his fault.
The significance on that is every 1,000.
Every 1,000,
achievements
yeah.
won.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because
still quite a few.
you factor in 1,000 achievements. Back in the old days, it used to be 50 achievements per game. So 1,000
About 20
achievements
games.
is
Yeah.
20 odd completions when you think about it. So
yeah.
Good job. Mad Eye Pad Eye has reached a new milestone of 30,000 achievements won.
yeah, but he's a serial bean diver.
Yeah, we're just going to cut everybody down as we go down the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just not useless, talentless. What are they doing?
Nerf Bullet hit his 300,000 gamer score though, which is nice to see.
That is pretty impressive.
Philip Wendell has reached a new milestone of 10,000 achievements won.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just getting worse.
Congrats. Congrats though.
Probably go through my list and I've just got less. Yeah, but what did he do? Dark Lord Davis has reached a new milestone of 9,000 achievements won.
Chin's favourite person. It didn't get onto the show last week, but Chin loves Dark Lord Davis.
I'll let him save his story to next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. All the outtakes. I mean, if you just want that premium content.
Got to pay for it.
Nate Dog Sniper, level 1, has reached a new milestone, 5,000 achievements once. Who's Nate Dog Sniper? Never heard of this guy.
Oh, that's the whole point. He wouldn't be a very good sniper if you could see him.
Oh, exactly. You'd think he's somebody's brother or something.
I think it's the one in the name that kind of throws you off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, never heard of him.
Message
Massage.
has reached a new milestone of 15,000 achievements won. Good job. Spazpol
Spazpol.
has reached a new milestone of 1 million true achievement score. Look forward.
I thought he had to take a break for family reasons.
No,
And there he goes
sorry.
getting a 1 million true
I was going to say,
achievement score.
maybe the break was the family, and that was the
Prax has reached a new milestone of 1.2 million TA score.
So nice double there with his 750.
Yeah. That's a pretty good ratio too.
Naberius?
Yep, Naberius.
Naberius has reached a new milestone of 17,000 achievements won.
Nice.
Lion.
Party.
Oh, okay, party. Okay, I'm just like, I've got no idea.
Yeah, Party X.
Party
Pretty!
Texas? Party Texas?
P-Tart TX or something, yeah. P-Tart.
Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart, Texas. Pop-Tart, Texas has reached a new milestone of a completion percentage
of 95%.
95%. Apparently,
Hashtag proper settings, all DLC.
Okay. No DLC.
Just saying. I mean,
no DLC.
proper settings. I mean, if it's not, I mean, if you, I mean, the DLC gets added to the game, you should probably play it. Just putting that out there.
Pesky title updates and purchases, and they don't count. Same with these zero Gs.
Pretty sure my milestone tracker only tracks proper settings. Just FYI.
Good. Correct.
Planning 42. I don't know about this guy. Apparently, he has crabs.
If anyone has crabs, it's definitely Planting 42. You hear that, Warren? We know. We know you organised the whole competition to spread it, but we know.
Right in the middle of a pandemic, jeez. Way to bring everybody down.
That's actually more impressive.
It is more impressive. He's not practicing social distancing whatsoever.
But yeah, his milestone is 2,250 games played.
Whew!
And Maddie, good old Maddie, has reached a new milestone of 200,000 True Achievement score because I've got no idea.
Maddie L22L.
Okay, I'm just like, that's something or another, and I'm sorry.
It could be Maddie I22I, I suppose.
But, I mean, I haven't played a gaming session with you yet, and you haven't had a chance to defend the game tag, so... But then again, I mean, I get shade from my game tags all the time, so...
What are you talking about, Illuminated Boundary?
Moving right along. That's us.
All right, I think that's us for the week. Is this going to be episode 85?
It's 85B.
85B. Okay.
Or 85-2.
This is 85, and the other one is 84.5. The lost episode. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at hello@realgamerscore.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter, and by us I mean Cameron, or at realgamerscore. As we mentioned, discord.io/realgamerscore. You want to have a chat with us and all of our community, and you want to give us some money, patreon.com/realgamerscore. We always appreciate our Patreon subscribers. We always say we're coming up with new content. I don't know where that content comes up with because no one tells me anything. I just work here. You can write in questions like we've had from some of our listeners. So if you send them through to the email or to one of those spots, we'll be happy to answer them on next week's episode. And if you're interested in being on the show, make sure you contact Professor Pluto or Chin on TA or Discord and send a sample of your audio so we get an idea of what you sound like and if we actually want you on. No, I'm just kidding. That's just so we can make sure that it syncs up and we don't have any background noise and stuff.
And we don't lose an entire episode into the abyss.
Yes, ideally,
yes.
Yes,
that never happens.
No, that
rarely
has
ever
never
happens.
and will never happen. I need to get one of those boards that says days without incident and just put a big 0 on it. If you want to help out the podcast, you can subscribe to us on iTunes or other podcast platforms, Stitcher, or Spotify, Kingsman Radio, all that sort of stuff. Leave a review, 5 stars, tell your friends, retweet, subscribe, YouTube, Patreon. We put our reviews up on YouTube. There's also some content going up every now and then. But make sure you follow us on Twitter. I think Twitter is that's where we get our key memes and now we have the gift bot in the Discord chat. So that's just been an absolute nightmare. I love it.
That has been abused left, right, and center.
Sorry.
Oh, it's great. It's the best thing. I'm so glad I asked for it. Okay.
Before that anime trap though.
No, we're not getting no. I'm not getting this tagged explicit. The one day Chin isn't here. Okay. All right. So I think that wraps up everything. If you want to get in contact with me, well, it's episode 85. So don't ever speak to me ever again. If you want to get in contact with me, you can go to hell. And if you send me a letter, I'll burn it. But otherwise, Neomaster on TA and Discord and Xbox and that sort of stuff. If you desperately need to tell me that you're my long lost heir and you need some money, I mean, I still won't talk to you, but I'll at least read it. Cameron, what about you? Where can people find you if they, for chance, want to speak to you about your many names or want to get in contact with you with other relatives like Trimmy?
I mean, like, look, if you want to get in contact with me, Twitter's probably the safest bet, at Real Gamerscore podcast. Failing that, you could always contact me on the Xbox Achievement community on Facebook. Primarily take Australians, but, I mean, we're not shy of those across the pond.
As long as you've committed a crime, you'll be welcome.
Yeah, exactly. You could also find me swapping the odds and evens tags for Matt. Wrong week, buddy.
I knew it. Don't worry, I remembered. But this is technically a new episode, so
yeah. So it's changed now, thanks to the Abyss. But yeah, and yeah, just everything else on ShadowlessEdge. I'm gonna try and stream more during, everything that's going on, because I've got like no traveling at the moment. So take that as a caution, or take that how you will. I like my Forza, but yeah. What about you, Tarragon?
Well, probably TA now. zzUrbanSpaceman is possibly the, if you want to DM me anywhere. Otherwise, Discord. I'm generally on Discord a lot. As I manage and maintain the random to-do list, I'm generally in those channels on both Real Gamerscore and the AH101 Discords. But yeah. Otherwise, yeah, don't contact me.
Okay, so that was zzUrbanSpaceman. It wasn't City Astronaut or Downtown Cosmonaut. Or,
No. They're my alt tags. We don't talk about those.
Okay, right, yeah, okay, it's fine. Chen, cut this bit. Make sure you cut this bit.
Shh.
All right, well, I think that wraps up the show. Thanks for being on, guys. I think we had a really good episode this week. And if anyone disagrees, they can go to hell.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
Catches in Doom.